private pilot's license
For Christmas,
only a private pilot's license will do.
Don't want
Anything else?
no dinky tinker toy. I want a
Pilot's licenses.
to play with and enjoy. I want
Wanna learn to fly an airplane for
for Christmas. I don't think Santa Claus will mind me.
Do you? He thinks it's a great idea.
Won't have to use a dirty chimney flue.
Brad, how'd you get in here?
Oh, hey, Dan.
I'm just working on the new commercial. I just wanted to make sure that people knew that the best Christmas present was getting their pilot's license.
And not a hippopotamuses?
Well, I thought it was a good idea.
So you thought it was a good idea to butcher a Christmas classic?
Well, not exactly.
Yeah, let's just tell them to go to Ocala Aviation.
Because getting your pilot's license
Is the best present ever.
Christmas.
All right, 5 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. You heard Alan Thicke died, right?
Yes, that was a surprise.
I was kind of a fan of him. Did you know he did the narration for The Point? Remember Harry Nilsson's thing, The Point?
Oh, yeah,
it was like
yeah,
an
yeah.
animated thing and a record, and he did the animation on one of them or some of them. I know there was a few narrators on that. Anyway, I don't know if high blood pressure led to him having a heart attack, but you hear about it all the time. Watch your blood pressure because it could, right? Dr. Raymond Townsend is on the phone. Dr. Townsend is board certified in nephrology and internal medicine. He's the director of the hypertension program and professor of medicine at the Hospital of the University of Pennsylvania. He was named the American Heart Association's 2016 Physician of the Year for his research in metabolism, hemodynamics, hope I said that right, and chronic kidney disease. Wow. He's going to talk to us about the 5 steps to managing high blood pressure. Good morning, Dr. Townsend. You've got a lot of information that we can get out in 10 minutes.
Well, you know, Larry, you left out the part about I make a wicked sausage lasagna. So
Ooh, I'm coming over.
Oh, well, that's good to hear, because if a doctor is making sausage lasagna, then sausage lasagna is okay for me to eat, right?
Yeah.
correct. As long as it's low sodium sausage, you're good.
Okay, so salt is the problem. That's the culprit, huh?
That's one of the big ones, absolutely.
Wow. Now, my blood pressure is usually pretty good, and I eat horribly. When Robin and I donate blood, that's how I know my blood pressure, and I know hers, because when we donate blood, is your blood pressure usually pretty good?
Usually it's pretty good.
Yeah, Robin's is, that's right. You should cholesterol
the
that sometimes.
cholesterol that, is
Yeah. So it's weird that two different people with two different eating habits, hers is way better than mine, and yet my results, knock on wood, usually pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you got good parents. At least the likelihood is you got some good genes in the process that are protecting you, at least for now. But it catches up with you.
Yeah,
Trust me.
I know. I'm sure it does. I love salt too. I better stop with the salt, huh? I love those big pretzels in New York. Those big pretzels.
Tell me about it, especially the Auntie Anne's when they coat it with butter along with the salt. Oh, yum.
Where are you? Where are you?
Wait a minute. We're supposed to be talking about salt.
I know. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Philadelphia, West
That's
Philadelphia.
right. Philadelphia, yes. Oh, my gosh, yes.
Home of the Philly cheesesteak.
Yeah, that's good,
Exactly.
too.
Kind of on the East Coast there, yeah.
Kind of on the East Coast. So tell me, the 5 steps. We have to learn something here, right? Is it going to ruin my eating?
It won't ruin your eating so much as it might save your life. So for that reason, it's probably worth it.
All right.
So a couple simple things. You all know that this is the season when people get stuff like cough, cold, flu, the holiday cruds of one kind or another, and people tend to self-medicate, and they buy stuff. And if they buy an antihistamine, usually no problem. But if they buy something with a decongestant in it, decongestants work by constricting blood vessels, and that is a problem for people with high blood pressure. So step number 1, read the dang label. If it has a warning for that cough and cold prep about high blood pressure, think twice before paying your
I never knew that before. Okay, that's something I never knew. Okay.
Important point. Secondly, there's a lot of people that have this thing called sleep apnea, where they, loud snoring, and then they stop breathing, and then they start back up again. There's machines that help treat that once you're diagnosed properly. If you use those machines, you benefit. If you get one of those machines and you just let it sit on your bedside table, probably not going to get the benefit. So if you have sleep apnea, treat it. It's really worthwhile, because sleep apnea is a risk factor for coronary disease, for heart failure, and for blood pressure elevations, and let alone falling asleep at your desk at about 10:30 in the morning.
Yeah, that's
especially after your third cup of coffee, so you can't fight it that way. third thing is stress. We're all stressed, and the holiday season adds stress to stress. So if you're the kind of person that likes to binge eat during your stressful episodes, my advice is to eat a carrot, not a carrot cake slice.
Oh.
So do something healthy as opposed to eating healthy choices. Yeah, sorry about that, Larry, but your diet could probably use a little. So could mine. Could probably use a little work.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, and one of the things I do, I sit at a computer a lot because I do a lot of research, as you read off there at the beginning, and I have to mentally remember to get up and take a 5-minute break and walk or do something periodically so that I don't find, at about 11 o'clock in the morning that I have a pain in both of my shoulders because I've been sitting here just becoming progressively more tense with every email telling me my funding's in trouble or whatever. So a little walk now and then, a couple of deep breaths, a little put the stress aside and think about the fact that I will go home today, God willing, and have a nice night, etc. Think ahead. Fourth is salt, sodium. Sodium is one of the big ones when it comes to blood pressure. And anything we can do to reduce our sodium intake, I like the number 2,400. It worked for me for years. I kind of stick with that one. Some people like 1,500 milligrams a day. I find that's a little hard, at least in West Philadelphia, to achieve that. But nonetheless, if you want to do you want to get the gold star or the platinum star, that's the level to shoot for. And the most important thing, if you remember nothing else from Townsend's 3 minutes here, it's if you are on a blood pressure medication, it doesn't work if it stays in the bottle. You got to take it. If you don't take it, it doesn't do you any good. If you do take it, odds are you'll benefit.
Oh my goodness! So they all seem like common sense.
They are common sense,
Yeah.
but sort of once Rudolph gets his little nose in your tent, sometimes the common sense takes a back seat to the common stress of the season. So every once in a while, these are just things that your mom and dad would tell you, but they're useful information to keep you alive.
I'm going to use that. Once Rudolph gets his little nose in your tent, I
love that
I can follow that with anything.
So, my legacy is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Oh, great. Wait till my wife hears that.
Once Rudolph gets his nose in your tent.
His little nose in your tent.
This is a fun interview. But you know what? I mean, I like the fact that it's fun because it's easier to remember, I think, when it's fun, right?
It is.
Yeah. I think so, too.
Do you know what? I have a question for you. Okay, I am a saltaholic. I really do put salt on a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. If I don't, it doesn't have the same taste. I mean, will I eventually enjoy food if I just stop using salt?
Yes, you've answered the question as exactly as I was going to.
With the question?
No, Larry, when I was 20, I couldn't eat a hamburger if it didn't crunch because of the salt on it. I was worse than a saltaholic.
Oh, wow.
Whatever the next level is up. I loved salt. My blood pressure was always 110, so I always felt like I was immortal. Then I turned 55, and all of a sudden, I was sitting next to this guy from the UK, Graham McGregor. He's the one responsible for taking salt out of processed foods in the UK. And he dang near cut my hand off at the wrist when I reached for a salt shaker.
Really?
And he pointed out to me, that back pain you have from that I have a collapsed vertebral body, that's from osteopenia because you eat too darn much salt. And it turns out salt has other effects besides its effects on blood pressure. It can leach out your bones and some other things. And so I learned from that, and I cut my salt intake back. And if you do that, it takes about a month, but your salt sense resets, and you will be fine with food a month later, even if you don't add a wisp of salt to it. And moreover, you will notice when you go to a restaurant or buy, the occasional misdemeanor in the food store when you buy some packaged food with a little higher salt, you'll notice the difference in sodium.
Misdemeanor.
Wow, this is interesting. I love this.
The word misdemeanor got through in there somehow. All right, I'm going to do this. Robin, keep an eye on me. You're not a big saltaholic, are you?
No, I'm not. I put very, very little salt, if any, on my stuff.
Is pepper okay?
Pepper is fine. Absolutely. That's one of the things I did. I switched over to pepper. I have one of those grinders.
Why do the
I get a little exercise when I put the pepper on?
That's right. You grind it. Yeah.
Why do the health food people make it seem like, and maybe I'm just misreading, but they make it seem like sea salt is better than Morton salt?
You pushed one of my buttons. Last I looked, sea salt is salt. The word salt is there for a reason. And just because it comes from the sea doesn't mean it's like magically, devoid of sodium chloride, just looks like it and tastes like it. It is salt, whether it comes from the sea, which, by the way, much of salt comes from the sea anyway. So it is not healthier simply because it has a few other adulterants in it.
It makes sense.
Salt will have like the other minerals. It doesn't, it doesn't cover it.
All right.
Still bad.
I'll check in with you again in a month, Doctor. I'm going to see if I can get my salt. I'm going to try this.
There you go.
I am going to try this, Robin. You know me with salt.
I do. You always do things. You always try things.
Dr. Raymond Townsend, thank you for being on the air with us today. He may have saved my life.
I think so.
You never know, right?
He's a good man.
Never know.
I'm not being silly here either.
No.
The website I have here is heart.org. Is that the one you would recommend also?
That's correct. And if you want to drill down to blood pressure, put /HPP and you're there.
Okay. HPP /HPP.
For high blood pressure, HPP.
HBP. Okay, got it. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you for being on the air. Have a great Christmas or Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate.
I celebrate Christmas, and same to you guys.
All right, thank you. We'll be right back.
Weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Areas of fog for a while Wednesday morning, then some sunshine the rest of the day, and warm, high 78 to 82. Partly to mostly cloudy wind tonight, low 58 to 63. Thursday, clouds and some intervals of sun. There can be a shower near the coast.